Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over some of my favorite plays for the 11-game NBA slate for tonight on Draftkings. Before we continue though, if you could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. We're getting close to 3,000 subs. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. So hopefully we can get there soon. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at ChrisPinell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheet, I build every single night for the NBA season, projections, advanced statistics, my cheat sheet, my Slack chat, all that available in the link description below for my Patreon. And I hope you guys played some Anthony Davis tonight because he is going absolutely nuts at lower ownership compared to Luka and LeBron and I forget the other chunk guy. But yeah, he is going nuts. It was kind of a roller coaster before lock. When right before the Mavericks game, he got announced that he was questionable to play. So I'm assuming a lot of people pivoted off him, which I guess was a pretty big mistake now because he is going off. And he actually went to the locker room at one point. It was just to retape his shoulder though, so he was fine. But still, pretty awesome game for Anthony Davis right now, so hopefully you guys stayed on him. He's going nuts. I believe he had 73 fantasy points at the end of the third, so we'll see how it goes at the end of the fourth. Maybe he ends up with 90. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, let's get into this slate. And let me tell you, there's a ton of elite options on this slate, and you really can't go wrong with most of them. But I'm not just going to sit here and tell you to play all of them, because that's just not how this works. I got to steer you guys into a general direction. So let's just start off with my favorite play of the night, someone I am locking in. It's James Harden at 10,100. I just love this spot for James Harden. I think we get our first 60-point outing from him here. This is a great matchup versus Washington, who's just getting absolutely blitzed by opposing guards this season. Now they have to face off versus the elite tandem of James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I don't know what else to tell you, but good luck to the Wizards. They are not going to contain them. And Vegas also loves this game. They slapped a 230 over-under on it with a total of 120 for the Rockets. So points are going to be scored in this game. And this should be played at a pretty fast pace. So I want all the pieces I can get here. And the spread isn't overly massive with the Rockets only being 8-point favorites. So I don't have too much concern of a blowout here. And as for Harden, he's unreal. But I got to say, he is shooting extremely poorly to start the season, especially from deep. But guess what? He just continues to keep getting high fantasy point totals despite that. And it just goes to show you his insane upside. And once he starts blazing threes and actually hitting shots in general, he's going to put up some massive fantasy point totals. I mean, he's been doing fine just with, even without hitting his threes yet. To start the season, he's 6 for 40 from deep. And that's just not going to keep happening. He's due for some positive regression here, and I think it comes sooner rather than later. Last game, he was 3 for 14 from 3 and 8 for 21 from the field, and he was still able to put up 57 fantasy points, which is just insane. It shows his incredible upside each and every single night. He's also very elite at getting to the foul line as well, as we all know, and he doesn't miss those at all. I mean, last game he had 22 free throw attempts, hit 21 of them, then 11 for 12, 14 for 14. He's going to get to the line, so you get your free points there. And he can also do it all in the stat sheet as well. He's not just scoring dependent either. He can stuff the stat sheet, get the assists, the rebounds, steals, whatever. So even with Westbrook on the team, he still owns a 37.2% usage rate, which is absolutely massive. But his fantasy points per minute are down a little bit from last season as it sits at 1.29. But this will come up when the shots start falling, and they will soon. So James Harden, load him up. He is my guy tonight. So I definitely like James Harden. I'm actually not going to build a lineup here, so we're just going to go down the list of the guys I want to talk about. And the next thing I want to talk about is his teammate Russell Westbrook at 9,600. So the matchups are pretty much the same here, so I'm going to spare you the repetition of me saying it all over again. But I love Westy here. He's yet to have a bad game so far this season. He just seems a little bit too cheap, still with his insane upside. He scored 62, 65, and 50 to start the season and is nearly averaging a triple-double, averaging 24 points, 9.7 assists, and 12 rebounds per game. These numbers are great, and I love the game environment and matchup, and he should continue to eat alongside James Harden. I have no issues with stacking the two together, as they've both shown they can play well as a duo. Russ has a lower usage rate than Harden at 28%, but he's also been more efficient in terms of fantasy points scored on the court with 1.66 points per minute compared to Harden's 1.2. And just as a baseline projection, let's give him like 33 to 35 minutes tomorrow, and then his 1.66 points per minute. That's 56 fantasy points just right off the bat, and then you can account for the matchup, the Vegas total, and the pace. I think he and Harden have 60-point upside here just off a baseline projection. So definitely like Russell Westbrook. I love James Harden. If you want to stack them together, I think that's totally fine. I think they're going to ball out in this matchup. And then the next guy I want to talk about, the last that we're going to talk about, is Steph Curry at 9,500. So it looks like I'm really high on a lot of high-end guards tonight. So it just might be my spend-up spot. Maybe we'll have to find some value at the center or forward position. But let's just talk about Steph Curry right now. He gets a really nice matchup versus a fast-paced Suns team who is really struggling versus opposing guards. with most of the show gone for the Warriors these days. Durant's gone and then Klay Thompson's hurt. They're going to have to really rely heavily on Steph Curry to stay competitive in most games. Now, his first 2 games weren't that great, but neither were the matchups either versus Pat Beverly on the Clippers, and then the Thunder, they're kind of meh. Not the worst defensive team in the world, not the best. But he did excel last time out versus New Orleans, which is obviously a great high-paced matchup, and this is somewhat similar. And he is at home as well. They always play great at home. We have a pretty darn high Vegas total here, too, at 230 or 229. It's really close, something like that. And the Warriors are 6-point favorites. So this should be a pretty back and forth high-scoring game. And if Curry is spraying threes, I think we can be in for a big night. And on the season, he has a 30% usage rate and is averaging 1.4 points per minute. And I think there's room for improvement here in this game. So Steph Curry, I like him a lot. He had a double-double last game, which is nice to see. So if he can rack up the assists, maybe get some rebounds too, I think we're in for another 50-plus point outing out of Steph Curry with 60-point upside if he's hitting his threes. So, like Steph Curry, so my 3 favorite spend ups as of right now. Things can obviously change throughout the day, but right now, I like James Harden, I like Russell Westbrook, and I like Steph Curry. So it looks like I'm pretty high on, point guard / shooting guard for tomorrow. But, we'll see how it goes out. Value ends up opening up. So maybe I want to go all the way up. But, again, it's only 12 a.m., so we're just speculating on the slate for tomorrow. And now I'm going to talk about one mid-tier guy I like, and that's going to be Myles Turner at 7,000. And I also like his teammate Sabonis, but he comes in a little bit more pricey, so I wanted to talk about more of a mid-range guy. I believe he's 7,900. But we're going to settle for Turner here. He finds himself in a dream spot versus Brooklyn, who's getting annihilated versus opposing centers this season, just like they did last season. Now, he hasn't been great this year. He's only averaging 0.86 points per minute, but he's also seeing as many minutes as he can handle right now. He's averaging 39 minutes per game, and even if we project him for a more conservative 33 to 35 minutes with as low as 0.86 points per minute, that gives you 30 points right there, and that's with the low points per minute right now. Then if we factor in literally the best matchup you can ask for his position, and then he's probably going to outplay his average points per minute on the season in this matchup. I mean, I think he's got 40-plus point upside here. If he could maybe get 50-plus points potentially there. He had 46 points versus Detroit. I think we see something more similar to that, and I think he has upside for more. And he's only 7K. If he goes a little bit overlooked because of the 29 points and 26 points, I think that's fantastic. Myles Turner, he's in an awesome spot. I like his upside here a lot at 7K. Whoops. Sorry, that's my dog sitting on my lap. He just freaked out. Anyway. So that's going to be it for the mid-range options. Obviously, there's some more, but I don't want to talk about a whole bunch of them because I'm probably going to be going stars and scrubs on this slate. And so let's talk about some value guys. And obviously, I love the Rockets-Wizards game, so I'm going to try to nab some cheap guys out of this game to get exposure to it. So let's start with Davis Bertans. I believe I'm saying that correct. I'm sorry if I'm not. I don't think it's Burton's, though. I think probably Bertans. I know he's got an accent mark in his name somewhere. But this one's pretty simple for me. He's getting big minutes. He's averaging 30 per game, and that's pretty big for a guy in his price range, and he hasn't been too bad with it either, 0.76 points per minute. I mean, you get what you pay for, but that's not terrible at this price tag. And on the season, he's averaging 22.8 points per game, which we will take all day at this price. And I think this game sets up really well for him, as it should be a high-paced scoring game. Should be pretty back and forth. And the Wizards are going to have to hit some threes to keep this game close, which I don't think it gets out of hand, but I do think that they're trailing, and they're going to have to throw some shots up. So I think this sets up really well for Bertans. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. But he's averaging 3 3-pointers per game, which we get a tiny boost for on DraftKings for each 3-pointer we get. And so given the game environment and the minutes at this price, I don't mind it. And I think he's a pretty decent play at that price. So Bertans, I don't mind it. Next guy I want to talk about, and the last guy I want to talk about, is another value option in this game, and it's going to be Eric Gordon at 3,900. So just another piece of this game, and he's another cheap guy who's getting big minutes. And I'd say Gordon does have a bit more upside with his ability to get hot behind the arc, like his teammate Harden. He's yet to do that this season so far, as he's only 6 for 28 from 3. He's averaging 33 minutes per game off the bench, but only a measly 0.5 fantasy points per minute, which is awful. But I do think that's going to come up a little bit once he starts getting his shots, just like I said with James Harden. Obviously, he doesn't have James Harden upside, but there's some similarities there just in terms of that they're not hitting their shots. And I think Aaron Gordon's just way too cheap for the minutes he's getting. I love this game. I love the game environment. It should be pretty fast paced. Shots are going to be thrown up all around. So I think he gets you 20 points, and I think there's upside of more too with Eric Gordon at 3,900. So that's going to be it for the value, guys, and that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope it was helpful. If it was, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPanel16. If you're interested in the spreadsheets I build every single night, links available in the description below for my Patreon. All my updates are on there because I can't do an update video every 10 minutes once news comes out, but that's all on my spreadsheet throughout the day. You can hit me up on Slack chat. I'll talk to you there all day because I do nothing else besides this stuff. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you played Anthony Davis. I'm about to check the game right now. Actually, let's just check it live. So, no, he's still at 73. There's only 4. Yeah, the Lakers are up 20, so he's probably not going back in, so that kind of sucks. Oh, well. Still a pretty good game. We'll take 73 all day. LeBron sucked, though. He only had 37 fantasy points. And I actually had 6% owned Kyle Anderson because he just fit my lineup at the end. And he did absolutely nothing. He did nothing in the second half whatsoever. He had 8.25 fantasy points in the end of the first and did absolutely nothing after that. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. But, yeah, still a good overall night. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. It'll probably be an NFL video, so if you guys are interested in my NFL videos, that'll be out probably tomorrow, my core plays video. So, see you guys next video. Wish you guys the best of luck and whatever.